Back at it again, and I checked out a clip from Tim Pool, and I wanted to check it out with you guys because they really got into a very interesting discussion that I wanted to go over with you guys as well. So like, share, comment, hit that subscribe button if you are new. Watch this video to the very end too. It'll help out tremendously with the YouTube algorithm. I would greatly appreciate it. And once again, shout out to Tim Pool for this clip, which I'm sure you guys already know who Tim is. So let's dive in.
Let's jump to this story from timcast.com. New 2024 polls show Biden alternately tying with and sliding behind Trump. Despite the possibility of 4 separate sets of indictments, support for Trump remains strong. This is bad news. They say a key strategy for Biden's reelection bid will be branding Trumpism and MAGA threat to America, casting Trump supporters as far-right authoritarians, as Axios described. And let me also add, personally, one tactic of Joe Biden is to criminally indict his opponent because he can't win legitimately.
And that's a great point. And I'll make this quick because this is a very, very long video. But one thing that I've noticed throughout this journey is that Democrats always accuse the right of what the Democrats actually are or are doing. That's one thing that I've noticed throughout this little bit over a year now, checking out politics and really diving into it, is that's a tactic that they always use. Say what you're doing, but put it on them so everybody looks over there while you're getting away with it. Just saying. Let's jump back in.
Interactive polls show that Donald Trump is beating Biden by 3 points. Among moderate independents, he's up 9. In swing states, Trump is up 9. This is bad news for Joe Biden and may explain why they're so desperately going after Trump with these indictments. Because Trump's going to win. And, you know, we had Liam last night. He was convinced Trump could not win because the deep state would not allow it to happen. And I'm just like, they allowed it in 2016 then? Is that the argument? In 2016, the deep state went like, oops, Trump won? Maybe.
I think so. Because the way he was saying, and what I agree with, is that now that he's said, when I get back in, all of you in the deep state are going to be fired. They're like, okay, this isn't the Trump from 2016. Now it's a different guy with a different motive.
And I still don't think it means they're powerful enough to stop him from winning. They can certainly throw roadblocks in the way and try and go up against him and criminally charge him. Right. Yeah. But it does not mean, look, his polls are going to skyrocket because of this. His fundraising is going to skyrocket because of this. They cannot stop him. They're playing the game in desperation. Yeah. They're thrashing about as they drown.
Well, now, I definitely feel like Tim Pool is right on the mark with that, in my humble opinion. And I've said this before. I feel as if they know what's coming. And it's a storm of epic magnitude for them. And they aren't powerful enough to do exactly what they want to do. So they're going to try to throw anything and everything that they possibly can to try to find something, anything that sticks. That's just my humble opinion, and Tim Pool agrees, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to show you guys this clip and get your thoughts and your opinions, especially after the questions, right, from before. People are going to have hawk eyes on this entire situation, and they know if an entire nation, or even half of a nation, 3/4 of a nation, rises up and fights back possibly, they're in deep trouble. They're up Poops Creek without a paddle in sight. And listen, I'm not advocating for violence. I got to put that out there as well. I'm just saying, right? They know that they can only push so far. They can only do so much. They're only so powerful. So they're like a cornered animal at this point. Or in Tim Pool's case, what he said was a drowning person who's just flailing around, just trying to do anything to save themselves. They look like me in a large body of water, okay? Because I'm going to be out there flailing. I can't swim. So if you ever see my body, or they found my body in a large body of water, just know I didn't go there willingly, okay? But anyway, yes, like I said, I think that they don't have any choice at this point. Trump is on the way. He's coming, and they're trying to find something to get rid of the guy. And so far, hasn't been working.
Desperation. Yeah. They're thrashing about as they drown.
Well, the reality of it is all this propaganda and the fake indictments wouldn't be necessary if they didn't think he could win. They would just leave him alone.
Exactly.
Facts.
And so what I see with this is, as we have tremendous victories with, say, Bud Light and things like this on cultural fronts and Sound of Freedom, they're going for the only thing they have left, which is raw government power.
Yep.
They are losing culturally. Their shows are getting roasted. Alternate independent media is starting to rise. Bud Light lost a quarter of its market share from endorsement.
And shout out to you guys for making that happen, right? For making sure that alternate media is on the rise, because that's you guys. Without all of you, that doesn't happen. Without all of you watching Tim Pool and other people in alternate media, right? It does not happen. So give yourselves a pat on the back for that one.
And this stuff, not popular. Nobody likes it. Trump his popularity is going up. He's improving in the polls. The only thing they have left is truncheons.
Do you think that if we replaced a lot of the people in the government, that it would work better? Do you think it's a problem is personnel or is it structure?
Both.
Eliminate.
Eliminate
Well,
jobs?
I'll say this.
You mean wipe it
Well,
all?
hold on. You replace a lot of people, it'll be better for sure. You eliminate a lot of positions and departments and replace people, we can fix the problem.
Yep.
I agree.
It's just like with the FBI.
Yeah.
You can't just get new people. You need to gut the agency, figure out what powers they have, what powers they don't, and then they can't go out on a rampage like they have been the past 2 years again.
But let's add into the mix the other question in this presidential debate. If Trump is indicted and removed, will Ron DeSantis be the nominee? And ultimately, let's just talk a little bit about where Ron DeSantis' campaign is at. And my friends, the latest reporting that's come out about Ron DeSantis' campaign is, I'll call it heartbreaking. Because I think back to the promise we saw with the Ron DeSantis campaign. Somebody who was pushing good culture war policy, who was pushing a lot of the same policies as Trump, but with more tact, youth, and vigor. And then Ron DeSantis burned it all to the ground.
Yep.
And I do hold him personally responsible. I understand that it's his PR and communications team that are ultimately sinking everything around him. But the fact that he has not fired Christina Pushaw at this point, despite every insane error she's made, he's just like, nah, keep doing your thing, even though he's collapsed in the polls. He's basically no longer even in the race.
Well, you saw the statement that, like, the internal statement that was leaked of, what was it? Hit the brakes on what doesn't work, hit the gas on what does. It's like, then you
Wow,
think
so
you
smart.
would hit the brake on Christina Pushbaugh, because this is clearly not working for this campaign.
Who said to hit
this
the
story-
brakes? Was that DeSantis himself?
It was the communications director, basically sending it out to the influencers.
This story from Semaphore about Ron DeSantis blew my effing mind. The video with the Sonnenrad, the black sun, was made by his campaign. They outsourced the video to a third party, and the dude who made it retweeted it. They fired him, threw him under the bus. This is the anti-LGBT. I shouldn't call that. The video they made criticizing Trump's stance on LGBT issues, made in-house, outsourced, so they could have plausible deniability.
Yep.
The video in which Ron DeSantis is appearing before a spiraling Nazi Sonnenrad symbol
With soldiers
with
marching.
soldiers marching towards it was made by one of their, I believe it was a campaign staffer,
Allegedly.
and then sent to a third party and retweeted. And we have it here. Check this out. The Scoop. Senior aides to DeSantis oversaw the campaign's high-risk strategy of laundering incendiary videos produced by their staff through allied anonymous Twitter accounts. A set of internal campaign communications obtained by Semaphore reveals. The videos include two that have created recurring distractions for his campaign. Check it out. They say, screenshots of the war room chat reviewed by Semaphore included staffers praising a widely derided and since deleted video originally posted on an anonymous account, Ron DeSantis fan cams, that included a version of the Sonnenrad, a symbol associated with Nazi Germany. Quote, "This belongs in the Smithsonian," wrote Kyle Lamb, the campaign's director of research and data, before the video blew up in the campaign's face. He was among the 38 staffers laid off in recent weeks amid a campaign reset. Messages viewed by Semaphore also show members of the War Room group actively sharing images to put in the video while it was in the editing process, though not the Sonnenrad symbol that was in the final version. The big issue here that I want to bring up too, check it out. The campaign has never publicly confirmed or denied ownership over the LGBT and Sonnenrad videos, which staffers retweeted after they were posted by anonymous accounts. They recently fired one aide, Nate Hochman, who shared the latter video and, according to an Axios report, created it.
We should have that guy on the show. I wonder if he'll talk.
Oh, I bet he would.
Let me just tell you, Tim Cast has reached out and this is a while ago, to the DeSantis campaign to have someone come on the show for a polite, normal discussion, and they refused.
I was just thinking.
Now, why would Ron DeSantis' campaign or Ron DeSantis himself refuse to go on a huge platform like Tim Pool's? See, and I've got y'all know I've been this way for a long time. Now, I will admit at the very, very beginning, like in midterms and whatnot, when DeSantis was running against I forgot the guy's name in Florida, I was excited. I think a lot of people were excited. Everybody was excited about Ron DeSantis. I think there were very few people who smelled that stench on him, right? At that point in time. It was Ron DeSantis is great. This guy's on point. Hey, he's doing some amazing things. He's doing some great stuff. And then after, like, he just started to reek. And you know, I got a big nose, you know, so I can smell him from miles away. You know, I just smelled like this stench. And I'm like, I can't pinpoint what it is. I can't tell you. I'm too new to politics to tell you or to explain exactly what it is. But something stinks about this guy. I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping, you know? I think I even said something along those lines in previous videos. You guys might remember. And lo and behold, watching this all play out, he starts out here. And ever since, it's just been straight down into the dirt at every single turn. He's making a dumb decision or a mistake everywhere. Not going on a big platform like that. Why? Why not? I heard PBD, Patrick Bet David, talking about he's reached out to Ron DeSantis and his team. And they take days, if they even respond at all, to get back to him. Everybody else that he reaches out to, Vivek, Tim Scott, Donald Trump, everybody else gets back to him immediately. But Ron DeSantis' campaign, his team, they all of a sudden, they just too high and mighty to get back to folks. And I'm like, oh, you thought you had this in the bag, huh? You thought. And then the fact that, you know, Ron DeSantis didn't come out and say anything about Uncle Trump as all this BS is going on. He just sat back. That didn't sit with me right either. Like, I get his opponent. I understand that. Vivek did it. I got a question for y'all. And we're going to jump back into this video. At this point in time, are you taking Vivek Ramaswamy or Ron DeSantis? I'm taking Vivek. I don't trust DeSantis. He's a snake in the grass. We need our grass cut lower, you know, so we can make sure we see him slithering through, you know, in my humble opinion, you know, and yeah, the whole Trump thing was just like, yeah, nah, definitely not. You can't even say that this is terrible and defend this man. It takes you weeks just to even mention him, and that's after somebody asks you about him directly. That just don't sit right with me, man. It just don't sit right. You can still, you know, hey, yeah, I'm his opponent. Just like Vivek did. But, yeah, y'all let me know. Vivek or DeSantis? Talk to me.
I think Ron needs less social media presence, but more focused, honest stuff. But then I'm like, well, why am I thinking that? When I think of Vivek Ramaswamy, I think more social media. More.
I
everything
don't think,
you're doing.
Even if they knock Trump out, I don't think DeSantis has a chance. I mean, after everything, his campaign is just crashing and burning day by day, worse and worse. I think Vivek is the guy. I mean, if he steps up, Vivek seems like a much more optional candidate and a reasonable candidate.
Here's the thing with Vivek. Someone will... Vivek.
Yeah,
like
Vivek. Okay.
That's what he says. Someone will accuse him of something, and then he will outright address it
He'll
right
make
away.
a statement, and nobody else
Yeah.
is doing that. I mean, with the WEF stuff, with everything, he came out,
Exactly.
and then when Trump was raided, he came out and said, "This is unprecedented. We can't allow this." He's the only one doing that.
I'm gonna tell you exactly what I think.
The only one. That is mind-boggling to me. Mind-boggling. Vivek is the only one standing up and saying, hey, yo, what they're doing is bad. They should not be doing this. Not Tim Scott. Damn sure not Mike Pence. Not Ron DeSantis. Not Nikki Haley. Listen, and I'm a big fan of this guy. Big fan. I haven't even heard Larry Elder come out and speak out against it. And I will say right here on Front Street, Larry Elder, I am disappointed. I'm disappointed. And I rock with Larry Elder. I rock with him. Y'all know that. Nobody except for Vivek. That's what I'm saying. That's why I said, hey, if it ain't Trump, it's Vivek for me. Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Think about the DeSantis campaign. And I'm sure I'm going to piss off a lot of people, but I'm going to say it anyway. I'll tell you what my view is.
Say it with your chest.
Some Trump individuals, I don't know who or what the deal is, posted a photo of DeSantis' team, and there was a picture of Christina Pushaw with rug burns on her knees, as if to imply something untoward about her.
Oh, goodness.
This is around the time this whole thing got kicked off, where all of a sudden DeSantis supporters just started rabidly snarling and spitting in people's faces. I think she was emotionally slighted, triggered to the point where she started using the DeSantis campaign as a vehicle for emotional satisfaction against the people who insulted her.
Oh, I think you're completely right. And the same thing happened again when I think it was Alex Brusowitz. He released a picture which was clearly a meme with Pushpa, and then it was George Soros sitting next to him, which was clearly photoshopped.
Was
and
he
it
sitting
went viral?
There was a picture where it was like in the background of fake
or something.
Soros or something like that.
It was like a clearly photoshopped George Soros. It wasn't even a good Photoshop. And then they just went rabid on everybody, it seems like.
And what happens is you've got a handful of people who are like Trump influencers or whatever who play dirty or whatever.
It's
and
politics.
so their response is to attack any and everyone who dare insult them or even question them in any way.
Yep.
The fact that, you know, what we've seen with the reaction, you know, Mike Cernovich tweeting about it, how the DeSantis campaign has just started attacking everybody. You know, having talked to a few other people, not Mike, but a few people about what it is, it seems that Christina Pushaw, initially everybody were big fans.
Yep. She
was working with DeSantis. She was going for the media. She was calling out their BS. And then this rug burn knee thing happened. And all of a sudden it was just like, look, I get it. It's like really insulting, condescending, demeaning, misogynistic, whatever you want to call it. But that was the moment where it seemed like something flipped. And now anybody who had a bad word to say was just getting bitten, was just getting spat on and slapped around. Doesn't matter. They declared war after that.
Well, and after this, there's no way that the DeSantis campaign can succeed because you just marginalized and pushed away all these people that are loyal to Trump. These people that, yeah, if Trump gets knocked out, they probably would have voted for DeSantis, but why would they vote for him now when they've essentially just been, I mean, hitting on him over and over again?
There's this like a pro DeSantis account that appears to have like an AI deepfake avatar or whatever, has been promoted
Max
by
Nord.
Well, that's got a Family Guy character.
Yeah.
But this one made a like deepfake audio thing of me praising Christina Pushaw, and I'm just like, these guys have to be Trump supporters, because the only outcome of doing something like that is to try and get me angry so that I insult the DeSantis campaign. But and that's why I'm like, this has got to be a Trump supporter. Like, make them look bad, false flag DeSantis, and trick them into promoting things that hurt their campaign.
Or a Biden supporter.
Absolutely.
Like,
yep. Make sure DeSantis can't win. But then I got to tell you, if Ron DeSantis won't fire Christina Pushaw, it doesn't matter if it's intended to sink his campaign or not. The man cannot deal with his campaign. He cannot operate a campaign. It's good that he fired the people he fired. But I can tell you this. I know some of the people he fired should not have been fired.
Yep.
Some of the people that he fired, he should have promoted and fired the senior staff. Instead, he laid off something like 38 people. I know some of them, and I know they're smart, and I know they understand everything I'm saying, but they're the ones who got let go. Ron DeSantis, in this capacity, has failed miserably, and the person who's led the charge the whole way, as they've just crashed and burned, he won't fire.
Well, their messaging is absolutely terrible. I mean, they're keeping the people that are like, look at like Jeremy Redfern, I think that's his name, right?
Yep.
After Ashley Babbitt was shot and killed, he came out essentially praising it. He said, F around and find out. And it's like the messaging does not align with anybody that supports Trump. So how do you expect to garner these votes with keeping these people on your campaign?
I think we're learning something about Ron DeSantis. Mm-hmm. I think we're learning that he barely won in the first place in Florida. Trump's support helped push him over the edge. How did he win so well? I was warning about this too. Everyone's saying Ron DeSantis is such a good leader that he won by 1 million votes. To a certain degree, I agree with that, but I also wanted to point out, as I have since the beginning, you also had mass exodus from many other states of right-leaning people or more libertarian-leaning people who went to Florida because of the policy and were guaranteed to vote in this direction. And then people can say, yes, but that was Ron DeSantis' leadership. Fair. I agree. I will add, however, it was unobstructed leadership because the legislature was on his side. So he had a clear path to rolling these things out. When it comes to a campaign, he can't fire the people who have failed. No matter, every day it gets worse. At this point, maybe he can recover. I'm not saying he can't. But when you look at all the polling data, I can't remember who, one major polling agency said at this point in a primary race, no candidate polling at these numbers has ever been able to turn it around.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I think his campaign's sunken. I don't think there's any recovering it at this point.
It kind of makes me sad.
Well, and especially after, because I don't think he did good in the Tucker interview either, where he was interviewing the candidates. He came off as a neocon. I mean, he just seemed like he was kind of a war hawk throughout that entire interview and seemed disingenuous. But then, you have Vivek, and I think he did the best out of anybody up there. He was honest the entire time, and his message resonated with people. But every other candidate, and even DeSantis, I mean, after I watched that, I was off the DeSantis train completely because I was like, I don't think this guy actually believes in what he's talking about.
I will say this because we got a super chat. This guy Nathan C says DeSantis.
That's a great point as well. I don't feel that Ron DeSantis truly believes what he says. He doesn't. It seems and feels scripted, like he's rehearsed it and practiced it, right? Vivek is just out there just shooting from the hip, so to speak. You hit him with a question, hey, he coming back, right? Like he has more of that Trump kind of feel, that, shoot from the hip kind of thing. Ron DeSantis doesn't have that. It seems scripted, seems rehearsed, seems like you got your script from the deep state to, say back to us. And there's always that clip of Ron DeSantis where he says, I have to word it in a way that doesn't make Donald Trump's base angry, or something along those lines. Now, obviously, it's just a short clip, but that just sounds weird, Why are you worried about making the base angry? Shoot from the hip. Vivek doesn't. He doesn't make people angry as far as I'm concerned. His poll numbers have gone up ever since the beginning. He's just skyrocketed. Now, obviously, he can't beat Trump. But in 2028, he could be the next up. As a matter of fact, in my humble opinion, he will be. At this rate, at this pace, Vivek is next up. It ain't Ron. It's not Tim. For sure, it's not Mike. It's not, I was going to say something rude. It's not Chris Christie. That's for sure, right? It's not Nikki Haley. In my opinion, it's Vivek.
Campaign is fine. You guys are projecting for sure. I don't even believe the story. The video came from his staffer. Any name proof. Yes, Nate Hochman. And I can confirm personally that I have spoken with people within the DeSantis campaign, and Hochman did make the video. Don't believe me. Don't care. I am telling you, that's where I'm at, because I got on the phone with people. Like, come on. We've been in this space for a very long time. We know many of the people who went to work for Ron DeSantis. In fact, I have DMs with the people in his communication staff, and we'd invited him on the show before. But as soon as his campaign started, they went full corporate neocon, locked down, told their people not to appear on this show because we were critical of them. And I reached out and I said, did this guy do it? He did it. It's publicly known.
And son of a bitch,
it's publicly known.
They fired the guy.
Well, they threw him under the bus. But this is all publicly known. I mean, this is in Semaphore and Axios. I don't believe it. But look, if you're going to sit there and be like, this is clearly not true, it didn't happen. They deleted the video and fired the guy. Like, come on.
Yep. Sounds about right.
They did it.
It sounds like a leftist just denying basic reality at this point. And, I understand loving Ron DeSantis and everything and trying to back him as your candidate, but there's evidence on all of these things. There's uncountable evidence.
I had a lot of faith that Ron would come by the couple weeks after he started, announced, and play ball, like shoot some hoops and then do the show for a couple hours. And it would have been awesome. And we'd see the real guy, hear about his family, what his dreams are for the future, what he did before college, all that cool stuff that you want to know about a guy if you're going to entrust him with that kind of power to represent you on the geopolitical stage. But unfortunately, week 3 went by, week 4 went by, week 5 went by. They put out that gross deep fake, and then I've just kind of lost. I have zero faith now in Ron DeSantis.
Well, you look
and
at the
his campaign.
difference too, like socially wise, engaging not just with audiences on stage, but engaging with supporters and fans of you. Ron DeSantis is so awkward in person when he does this. He clearly has no care in the world to engage. He doesn't have charisma when he's engaging with his fans. He'll just say two things and then he'll walk off and go do something else. But then Trump, I mean, he's sitting there, you know, signing Medal of Honor pictures, going to fast food restaurants, buying people food. He resonates a lot more culturally, I feel like, than DeSantis does.
DeSantis was a VP pick. DeSantis wanted to be the big dog. He should have been the VP. He could have been the VP to Trump. He could have been the easygoing guy, the younger guy that would have helped Donald Trump get the votes, especially from suburban women and things like that. Instead, he says, no, I'm going to be the guy. I'm not a number two guy.
Well,
Yeah,
now
he's not
I
a
don't
number
think he's
one
ever
guy.
going to be the guy even in Florida again. I mean, at this point,
Well, I mean, he's termed out.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be done in politics, I think. I think this is a career killer for DeSantis because you try to take the helm from clearly who was the nominee, and there's no question about it, instead of just playing ball and helping the country, you know, in a state of, I would say, great need.
Thanks for watching this clip.
Bingo. I love that he ended it on that note. Instead of just playing ball, right, and helping the country, getting behind Uncle Trump, behind the guy who is clearly going to win, you couldn't just play ball. You couldn't. You don't really care about the country. You know, at least that's what that says to me. You don't really care. You care about power and being in that position. That's all you care about. You don't care about the country. You don't care about the people in this country, in my humble opinion. But what do y'all think? Maybe I'm wrong. Like I said, I'm still new to politics. I haven't been in it that long, right? This is just what I feel. And I mean, the stench on Ron DeSantis, I was right about, right? So I feel like I'm on the right track, okay? I might veer off from time to time. So maybe this is one of those times where I'm veering off. But I don't know, man. I just agree with that last guy and when he said that his political career is effectively over. It's done. He's termed out in Florida, and he's just going to ride off into the sunset and be a distant memory of what could have been. And listen, there was one point in time where all of us thought that he could be the guy. The guy. This is our Trump. This is our next Trump, right? And he fizzled out just as fast as he came onto the scene. As far as I'm concerned, I mean, it just. Now, maybe Vivek does the same thing eventually. I don't see it, right? I don't see that happening, in my humble opinion. And I don't see Vivek as a vice either. I still like RFK Jr. I think that brings more to the table than a Vivek in terms of winning currently in 2024. And y'all know I'm about winning. I'm about winning. We have a country to save, in the words of Larry Elder, right? We have a country to save. So I'm about winning. I'm about getting that W and making sure that this country is good to go. Then we can worry about the rest down the line. But I think a Trump president and RFK Jr. as vice is a phenomenal ticket on that ballot that even the most powerful people on this planet would shiver at, would be afraid of, you know. And Trump has praised RFK Jr. RFK Jr. has said some nice things about Trump back in return. So I definitely think it's possible. As far as likelihood, I may say a third, 33%. There's a 33% chance that they actually team up and get it done. Now, they are, you know, on opposite parties, which I feel is a benefit, honestly. I think that's a benefit, especially for the people in the middle, which obviously the people in the middle are the people that make elections, right? The people that can be swayed. When you have a Democrat teaming up with a Republican and people that are tired of this nonsense going on, I think that really pulls everybody to one side. And I think their timing needs to be right. They don't need to announce it now. I don't expect any announcement now. If Trump is being strategic, if they are both being strategic, it's it's you know, everything as scheduled, right? Go along with what you've been doing until next year in 2024. After primaries go on, and you might even push it out just a tad farther, you know? As long as you can hold off that news, then you drop it. And this is why I say that, and this is why I continue to say that, because you don't want Democrats to have any time whatsoever to exchange Joe Biden and Kamala Harris for anybody else. You don't want it. You want them to have as little time as possible. So you hold off as long as you possibly can. Then you say, RFK is going to be my vice. Democrats and Republicans teaming up to get the job done. This is the way it's supposed to be done. We work together. You come out with a message like that, it's over with. I mean, it's already over with. Trump's already going to win. But you have RFK Jr. on the ticket too? Oh, man. I think the biggest margin of victory in an election was like 17 million votes. I think they have a great shot at honestly surpassing that by a country mile. They've got a great shot at surpassing that, in my humble opinion. Right? 20 million votes plus margin of victory. But what do y'all think? Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know in the comment section below. Y'all stay safe out there. Peace and love. I'm out.